Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
That breaking news takes us to I-85 in the southbound lanes as a result of this major crash. We're told by the State Highway Patrol it involves injuries. You can see traffic snaking down just to one lane. I'll let you know how to get around this major backup.
And more breaking news out of Durham. Drivers exchanged gunfire, bullet holes visible this morning at a gas station there. What police confirmed in the last hour about the shots fired between cars. And this morning, storm impacts. The WRAL storm tracker monitoring wet road conditions. Right now, a tree went down on power lines, causing an active outage near Durham's Miami Boulevard.
Rain across our area this morning. I'll show you when it finally moves out and how it'll look as we get into the afternoon and evening.
And a must-win game. The Canes need to continue into a reverse sweep to move on toward the Stanley Cup. How the team is preparing ahead of puck drop tonight at Lenovo Center. All of those stories coming up for you right here on Fox 50 at 8 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey, and what a dreary start it is for our Wednesday morning. Let's get right over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. A lot of us heard that rain coming down this morning. Still a couple of drizzly spots.
Nothing heavy like we heard and saw last night, but definitely some light showers from, say, Wilson County all the way up the I-95 corridor. And then just now starting to see a bit more developing around Charlotte and Salisbury. So we're going to continue to have a little drizzle, a little patchy rain up until around lunchtime. But again, nothing terribly heavy. Still, a little bit of rain can cause some real issues for their morning commute. Again, you can see some rain in Rocky Mount moving into Edgecombe County, moving up toward Roanoke Rapids and into Virginia. Here's Futurecast, and Futurecast shows just a little bit of light patchy rain for us between now and lunchtime, and then late afternoon some gradual clearing is possible. I wouldn't necessarily count on it, but we could see a few breaks in the clouds. It definitely looks drier for the evening commute and on into the evening. We take a look at what to watch out for. The rain's trying to move out, but it is still hanging around for us. Some patchy fog, a little bit of spray on the roads, but then potentially turning drier this afternoon. We still have drizzle showing up on the camera lens here at RDU this morning. 63 is the current temperature, and we check out our highs as we get through the afternoon, looking at mid-70s, which is a bit warmer than what we saw yesterday. Our severe threat for Friday is a level 2. So tomorrow, or Friday, I should say, is already a WRAL weather alert day. And I'll walk you through the timeline coming up in just a little bit. We'll go out to Storm Tracker, which is right here along the Beltline in North Raleigh, with a look at what's happening there.
Elizabeth, we're seeing exactly what you mentioned, just that light patchy rain. We'll give you a live look now at road conditions here on the Beltline. So we're starting to see a few slowdowns here as we're approaching the height of the morning commute as folks are headed off to work. And we'll give you a look now at some video from about 90 minutes ago of a tree hanging on a power line on Fanny Brown Road in Wake County. As far as traffic impact, there's really not much to talk about there. Traffic is moving smoothly in that area. As far as your morning drive, you're going to notice that patchy fog, light, patchy rain here, just a little bit of drizzle. But Ken, what can you tell folks before they head out the door?
Oh, listen, we got a major trouble spot in Durham, Kelsey. Bumper-to-bumper traffic as a result of a crash near the I-40, I-885 interchange. And this is what we're looking at. You're looking at a 1-hour delay if you're trying to get to I-40 on I-885. And that's where we find WRAL's Ali Calabar with a first-hand look at what you're seeing behind you, Ali.
Yes, Ken, we are actually on East Cornwallis Road, and you can see that the emergency response vehicles on the scene. And just in the past 10 minutes, we could see a little bit closer of what this accident looks like. We can see a semi-truck, at least one semi-truck involved, surrounded by a bunch of emergency response vehicles. DOT is on the scene as well, trying to merge all of the traffic into one lane, causing that major delay for people on their morning commute. Now, Highway Patrol did tell me that there are injuries, no fatalities, and they say it happened around 6:30 this morning, and they couldn't tell me when they expect it to be clear, so you may have to battle this on your morning commute as well. But we want to send it back to Ken to tell us some other detour routes that may be a lot more easier for drivers this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're getting ready to head out the door this morning, I-885 is part of your morning commute. You've got Highway 55 as an alternate route, maybe South Miami Boulevard. And depending on where you're headed, ahead. You also got Highway 70 as an alternate route this morning to avoid what's happening there on I-885. Something that's happening on I-85 and the I-40 interchange there in Orange County. This crash causing a huge backup all the way to Mebane. So if you have somebody coming in this morning from maybe Greensboro, tell them to take some Highway 70 exit there in Mebane and get around what's happening there. To the east, we're seeing the usual bumper-to-bumper traffic on those Highway 64, I-87 lanes coming in out of Zebulon. So keep that in mind. Always remember you have Highway 97 as an alternate route. In terms of other major routes coming into the capital city, here's what we're looking at. It's a situation there. You got like a 3-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning, but the real troubled spot coming in from I-40 eastbound Chapel Hill, you're looking at a 9-minute delay. Over in Durham, short of what's happening on I-885, all the situation in the capital city, you're looking at an 11-minute delay, and that was Durham I just showed you just a little while ago, so keep that in mind. You're getting ready to head out the door. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thank you, Ken. Crews working to restore power for dozens of homes in Durham. That's because a tree fell and took down power lines. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker on Marley Drive near South Miami Boulevard. The tree fell around midnight. The road was closed for several hours as crews worked to clear that tree. And just before midnight, a gas station in Durham was hit by bullets. Police say it happened when shots were fired between two cars. The WRAL breaking news tracker was at the BP station at North Alston Avenue and Holloway Street while officers investigated. Nobody was hurt. And Durham police also investigating a shooting on North Miami Boulevard. It happened last night around 11:30. Police say a man was shot near a shopping plaza. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. No arrests have been made. The investigation is ongoing. And family members say a 2-year-old accidentally shot himself in the stomach in Rocky Mount. The child is in the hospital in critical condition this morning. Police say the gun belonged to his 17-year-old uncle and was left unattended. Captain Walter Keeter says this is a wake-up call about gun safety and youth access to guns.
Firearm safety is important, and it should be taken seriously, that if you have firearms, they should be properly secured.
And police say the 17-year-old had 2 handguns. One of them was reported stolen from Cary. He faces multiple charges. Unsecured weapons in homes is the subject of a WRAL documentary. You can watch Unsafe North Carolina Kids Dying from Gun Violence right now on WRAL.com. Wake County students and staff will learn skills for using artificial intelligence and other digital tools under a policy being drafted by the school system. Middle and high school students can already access tools like ChatGPT at school. This policy would put some parameters in place on when that's okay. It would also include some training. Some school board members say they're concerned about the impact on student learning, but agree students can't be missing out on learning to use new technologies like AI. The board plans to discuss a draft policy next month. It's another must-win situation for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. Puck drop is at 8 p.m. for Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. And WRAL's Laura Levine inside Lenovo Center this morning. Laura, the Canes back in Raleigh after that tide-changing win down in Florida. They have to do it again tonight.
They have to do it again. Good morning, Michelle. So the Carolina Hurricanes, they are aiming to earn another fight, another chance in this final run here for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Right now, crews are really prepping the ice, getting ready for the team to practice this morning. But the team will try to keep their momentum going heading into Game 5, hosting the Florida Panthers here for this another must-win matchup. So with their backs against the wall, the Carolina Hurricanes snapped back into the form that they had rolled through the first 2 rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs this season. Monday's matchup presented a win or go home scenario, but the Canes were aiming to do both. Coach Rod Brindamore said that the players are giving it all they got, and the rookies are also stepping up in major ways. And all they have to do next is win another game, but that's easier said than done against a veteran group in Florida, which is seeking its 3rd straight trip to the Stanley Cup final. So, of course, we'll continue to watch and see what happens tonight. The puck drops at 8 p.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And we'll have exclusive insights and expert analysis of tonight's game on Canes exclusive post-game live. Don't miss it at 11:25 tonight on WRAL. A Harnett County nurse and her husband are accused of stealing prescription drugs from hospice patients. Joanna and Robert Hull face several charges, including obtaining a controlled substance through misrepresentation, fraud, or forgery. Authorities were first alerted by Joanna Hull's employers after they reported unnecessary prescriptions being ordered. The investigation showed both Hull and her husband ordered the drugs even when patients did not need them. And Cumberland County Schools has a new superintendent. The school board unanimously appointed Eric Bracey. Currently, Bracey is the superintendent of Johnston County Schools. Prior to that, he held leadership positions in Sampson, Vance, and Northampton counties, as well as Durham Public Schools. Bracey's first day on the job will be July 1st. He'll replace Marvin Connolly Jr. Connolly announced his retirement plans last year. And tonight, family of late Smithfield Town Councilman Marlon Lee are inviting the community to honor him. They're holding a balloon release at Smith Collins Park at 6 p.m. Friends say Lee was a champion for his community. Lee died over the weekend from medical complications. Well, time now is 8:10 on your Wednesday morning. New COVID vaccine guidelines. Health department leaders say healthy children and pregnant women should not get the vaccine. A look at the announcement made by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And Pride Festival security, a change to a local LGBTQ plus Pride venue because of safety concerns. The new location and what's leading festival leaders to make that change.
Gray skies and damp conditions on your way out the door this morning. I'll show you when we begin to break this pattern and see warmer temperatures with a bit of sunshine. A 14 to hold up for 5,000 radar, showing a little bit of light rain, especially along and east of I-95 from Goldsboro northward. Also a little bit of rain that's starting to redevelop near Charlotte, kind of on the 85 corridor. Some of that could make it here. The bottom line is it's gray out there. You might run into some drizzle or light rain, but nothing heavy. It's just kind of a dreary start out there this morning. We're seeing some showers from Wilson up through Edgecombe County, through Enfield, through Roanoke Rapids currently. But again, you might run into some drizzle. A slight chance of a shower up until about lunchtime. And then after that, we should see some maybe gradual clearing, definitely starting to dry out a little bit as we head toward the evening commute. In Chapel Hill, the roads are damp, but nothing is really falling there right now. Our temperatures range from a chilly 54 in Roxborough to 63 in Fayetteville and 68 in Rocky Mount, where we have a shower falling at the moment. We take a look at your planner, and our temperatures are in the 60s now, but we'll climb up into the mid-70s for this afternoon. Now, we've had some cool spring days. Yesterday's high was only 65, but Chris Michaels comes up to talk more about our cool temperatures and do they have an impact on how it may feel this summer. Ken?
Elizabeth, we're staying on top of that breaking news on I-885 in the southbound lanes there in Durham. You can see there was bumper-to-bumper traffic, a virtual standstill a little while ago because you're looking at almost an hour delay at some point, but right now it's still an hour delay. Let's get to Ali Catalbar with brand new information about this crash. Ali.
Yeah, just in the last few minutes, we've heard from Highway Patrol that this crash involved 5 vehicles, and we want to give you guys a closer look of what we can see right now. We know a semi-truck was involved as well. Multiple drivers have been taken to the hospital as a result of this crash. Now, the cause is still under investigation right now. It all happened around 6:30, and we can still see those delays happening. All of that traffic merging into one lane, and we're still working to learn the condition of the drivers and, of course, what caused this accident or this crash and when this will be back open. Highway Patrol says it should be open in the next hour. Reporting in Durham, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
Recommendations on who should get the COVID-19 vaccine are changing. U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made the announcement on social media.
The COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule.
Kennedy says this move positions the Trump administration one step closer to delivering on the Make America Healthy Again agenda, but offered no scientific evidence to justify the change. Many medical professionals say the changes put vulnerable populations at risk. And Fayetteville's Pride Festival will look different this year. Event organizers say they made the decision to move inside, partially due to safety and security concerns. Now, usually the annual LGBTQ plus festival takes place at Fayetteville's Festival Park, but this year the event will take place on June 21st at the Crown Complex. Fayetteville Pride President Crystal Maddox explains the change.
2 reasons for the change. the heat of June in Festival Park and the safety in the climate right now in our country.
Maddox says there has been community concern about safety after a series of appearances at past events by LGBTQ+ hate groups. She says the outdoor venue did not provide the protection they need. With the extra precautions, Maddox encourages people to celebrate, assuring them safety is a priority. And yesterday was an abnormally cool day in the Triangle, which had people asking us, does this mean summer will be cool? Meteorologist Chris Michaels has the answer in today's Ask the Meteorologist. This is a very interesting question.
Yeah, you know, a lot of folks were asking if this was going to be kind of a sign, right? 65 degrees was the high temperature yesterday, and it hasn't been this cool this late in the season since 2023. So you're thinking, okay, it's not really that rare. But what if we took it back to when data began in the Raleigh area, which was 1887? So we looked at May 27th through June the 22nd, the summer solstice. So it's happened 57 times since then. That means we surveyed 3,726 days. 57 out of that number means it historically has a 1.5% chance of being that cool this late in the season. So does that mean summer is cooler? We looked back at all the past years where it was 65 or below that late in the season, and on average, it's about 0.4 degrees cooler than your average summer. Some of the coolest summers were in the 60s and the 80s, but since 2000, it really hasn't been a sign of a cooler summer. But we're looking ahead to this summer right now in this week's Ask the Meteorologist segment. You can find that on our weather app and on WRAL.com.
All right, thank you, Chris. President Trump issued pardons to 2 reality TV stars. The president gave a full pardon to Todd and Julie Chrisley, known for their hit reality show Chrisley Knows Best. They were convicted of federal fraud in 2022 and still had several years left on their prison sentences. The couple sought pardons from Trump back in February. President Trump called 2 of the Chrisley's children to personally inform them of his decision to pardon their parents. Raleigh transportation leaders are planning new events aimed at keeping people safe. They're hosting 2 sidewalk sessions next month. It's to help reduce injuries and deaths along roadways. The first one will be Tuesday, June 10th at Poland Park. That runs from 10 a.m. until 2, and the second will be Wednesday, June 18th at Nash Square Park. That'll run from 9 a.m. until noon. Well, this year's Boogaloo Festival raised more than $25,000 for Western North Carolina. The donation was made to the North Carolina Craft Brewers Foundation. It'll provide direct relief to breweries still working to recover from Helene, helping with things like business recovery grants to rebuild infrastructure and replace equipment. It's absolutely fantastic. They need all the help they can get still today. All right, let's get over to meteorologist Elizabeth Garter showing us all around town. It's cloudy wherever you look.
It really is. And we'll likely see this for the bulk of the day today. Late this afternoon, the models are hinting at a little bit of sunshine breaking out. I wouldn't count on seeing much sun today. Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill, all cloudy right now. And conditions are still fairly damp in places. We had some heavy rain yesterday afternoon and, of course, last night. Nothing heavy this morning. Some light patchy showers showing up in our eastern counties, Edgecombe County all the way through Halifax and Northampton. Also, some redeveloping showers here along the I-85 corridor. And that is likely to hold together and move into our area, potentially in the next hour to hour and a half in our western counties. Again, taking a look from the Triangle area northward, a couple of light showers up around Roxborough. How much rain have we seen with the system so far? Well, as little as half an inch in Zebulon, but as much as 1.5 inches almost there in Wake Forest, about 1 inch in Rollsville, just a little over 1 inch for Cary, Apex, Holly Springs, and Fuquay-Varina. So it was a good soaking yesterday and last night. No flooding along with that, at least that's been reported. Looking at the potential for a few isolated pop-up showers here and there for much of the day today. And then late afternoon, 5, 6 o'clock, we might begin to see a few breaks in the clouds. We'll fill in overnight tonight. As our next system approaches, we could see a few isolated storms for tomorrow. And then Friday, when the front itself comes through, it's our next weather maker. It is likely to bring us some strong to severe storms. So Friday is a WRAL weather alert day. Wind and hail would be our biggest threats. It's a level 2 risk between 1 and 7 o'clock. o'clock. You can see that level 2 risk covers almost the entire viewing area. Level 2 means it will have scattered showers and thunderstorms that could produce severe weather. 40% chance of rain today and tomorrow, but it's a 60% chance there on Friday. Notice the big difference. Maybe another 2/10 of an inch today. Very little Thursday, but as much as 3/4 of an inch on Friday. Again, Friday's that WRAL weather alert day. As we get into the weekend, it does look drier for us, and temperatures continue to warm up. Of course, big Hurricanes game this evening. We'll talk about what the weather will be like if you're headed out for tailgating.
Absolutely happening now. We're going to stay on top of that breaking news there in I-85 in those southbound lanes. You can see the huge slowdown it's causing as a result of a crash involving 5 vehicles. You're looking at a 49-minute delay. That was up to an hour, so things are getting a little better. Here's a live look at that scene with the help of photographer Michael Joyner, courtesy of the WRAL's breaking news tracker. You can see this 5 vehicles involved, including a tractor trailer. These lanes are being snaked down into one lane, so it stands to reason it's going to be a while before they get that cleaned up. So back in the WRAL Traffic Center, in terms of you're about to get ready to head out, Highway 55 could be an alternate route, South Miami Boulevard, and depending on where you're headed, 885 could be an alternate route for you.
All right, thank you, Ken. NC election violations. President Trump is suing North Carolina, claiming election violations in the state. How his claims echo those of former state Supreme Court candidate Jefferson Griffin. And drivers exchange gunfire in Durham. We'll tell you all about it next.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Ken Smith following a breaking situation on 885 in Durham. Ken.
Michelle, not a happy commute for anybody on I-885 this morning. The southbound lanes, you can see the bumper-to-bumper traffic there. Here's a live look at what's causing this mess with the help of the photographer Michael Joyner and the WRAL breaking news tracker. Right there, you can see it involved 5 vehicles, that crash scene, including a tractor trailer. You can see lanes are being snaked down just into one lane, and it's causing quite a bit of delay, causing quite a bit of backup. Back here in the WRAL Traffic Center, you're looking at almost 1 hour delay. Coming up at the bottom of the hour over on Fox 50, I'll let you know how to get around that slowdown.
And it's a bit messy out there, of course, as you can see from the cameras there. Some showers in our eastern counties. Expect a little bit of drizzle elsewhere. We take a look here from Rocky Mount to Enfield to Roanoke Rapids and eastward. That rain is moving on out. But a few showers could linger up through lunchtime. Later this afternoon, the chance of rain goes way down, and we may even see a little peak of sunshine by the time we get to the evening commute. Our temperatures are mainly in the 60s as you're heading out the door, and we'll climb into the mid-70s for highs this afternoon.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Just before midnight, a gas station in Durham was hit by bullets. Police say it happened when shots were fired between 2 cars. The WRAL breaking news tracker was at the BP station at North Alston Avenue and Holloway Street while officers investigated. Nobody was hurt. And happening today, Governor Stein plans to give his first speech on his energy priorities. Stein will speak at the Emerging Issues Forum at NC State. Stein pushed for a focus on clean and renewable energy in his campaign and as Attorney General. His speech is scheduled for 11 a.m. Next on Fox 50, the Department of Justice suing North Carolina. And next on today, Sarah Silverman on her new comedy special.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Right now at 8:30, we are tracking a messy morning commute. Right now, a crash involving several cars shut down part of 885 in Durham. And the WRAL storm tracker on the road in Wake County. How this morning's weather could slow down your drive.
And here's a look at the big picture. We have a low that's going to be riding up the coast, keeping a lot of rain to our east today, but we're still seeing some wraparound moisture, bringing us a few sprinkles and drizzle this morning. I'll show you when it moves out.
And breaking news, bullets hit a gas station. What police tell us about the shots fired between 2 cars in Durham around midnight. And a must-win Game 5 for the Canes tonight at Lenovo Center. The work they need to do to keep their season alive. They need to win tonight or it is all over for the Canes. They can do it. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey. All right, let's get right back to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, tracking still some of that rain lingering this morning.
We've had some drizzle out there, but nothing heavy like we saw last night. We have some showers along and east of I-95, especially north of Goldsboro. And then back to the west, starting to see more rain along the I-85 corridor. That's likely to start to creep into some of our western counties, probably within an hour and a half or so. Nothing's going to be heavy between now and lunchtime, but we will have just a little bit of light patchy rain. You can see Futurecast as we move it from now all the way through lunchtime. You can see a couple of little showers that start to pop up, especially down here in the Sandhills. Once we get to the evening commute, we might have a few breaks in the clouds. I wouldn't get too excited about that. That might be a pretty heavy lift on a day like today, but at least we'll start to dry out as we get closer to the evening commute. And tomorrow we'll have a small chance for thunderstorms. So most of the rain has moved out, minus a little bit of drizzle. You might run into some road spray out there, and then we'll be turning drier this afternoon. You can see that there's some water on the camera lens here in downtown Raleigh from the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. It is 63 degrees, so it's a cool start, and we'll see temperatures climbing into the low 70s later on today. Of course, a lot of folks may be hoping to do a little tailgating at the Canes game tonight. I'll show you the forecast coming up. Ken?
Let's at 8:32. We're staying on top of that breaking news on I-885 in the southbound lane. You can see the huge bumper-to-bumper traffic there in those southbound lanes. You're looking at a 43-minute delay if you're using 885 to get to I-40 this morning. Let's get right to Ali Catalabar. She's right there on top of that scene with new information she confirmed within the last 20 minutes. Ali.
Yes, exactly right. Highway Patrol tells me that this crash causing all these delays involves 5 vehicles. We know one of those vehicles is a semi-truck, and so we want to give you a closer look of what we can see from this crash so far. You can see tons of emergency response vehicles surrounding that 18-wheeler. You can also see DOT on the scene directing traffic to merge from 3 lanes to 1 lane, causing those major delays this morning. Now, Highway Patrol tells me that there were multiple injuries and multiple drivers were taken to the hospital. They tell me that it could open, this interstate could reopen within the next hour. So we will be keeping you guys updated throughout this time. We are still working to learn what caused this crash. It is under investigation at this time, as well as the condition of the drivers. We're going to keep you updated throughout the morning, but we do want to hear from Ken about those detours right now.
Yeah, particularly if you're just getting ready to leave the house and I-885 as part of your morning commute. You've got Highway 55 as an alternate route, maybe South Miami Boulevard. Then depending on where you're headed this morning, Highway 70 might be an alternate route to avoid what's happening there on I-885. Hey, something else happening on I-40 in the eastbound lanes there in Orange County near Highway 55. Actually, this is Durham. You can see the huge delays it's causing all the way back right there, all the way back to almost Highway 86. So keep that in mind, particularly if you're about to head out and you're coming in from Hillsborough. This crash near the I-40, I-85 interchange in Orange County cleared just a little while ago, but you can still see the lingering delays it's causing in that particular area. Things are really beginning to ease up on these I-87, Highway 64 lanes coming in out of Zebulon this morning. So that's good news for you folks getting ready to leave the house. In terms of other major routes coming in to the capital city, yeah, that's the trouble stop we just told you about. Coming in from Chapel Hill, you're looking at a 17-minute delay coming in from Chapel Hill. And really and truly, in Durham, very little to no delays coming in. In the capital city, yeah, you're looking at a 7-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning. You're getting ready to head out the door. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. And our team coverage on the rain and road conditions continues with Kelsey Coffey and the Storm Tracker. Kelsey, how does it look where you are this morning?
Michelle, right now we're on New Hill, Holloman Road in Raleigh. We'll go ahead and give you a live look here at road conditions. So not too much to worry about in this particular area. We did see a truck that hit a tree on the side of the road, but there's no type of traffic impact there. We are noticing some patchy fog, a little bit of light drizzle, but we'll show you a live picture now from Fayetteville Street in Raleigh on the left side of your screen there. So you can see that fog is a little bit more dense in that area, really lingering. As far as your morning commute, you don't have too much to worry about. Most of this fog isn't really impacting our visibility as we've been driving around in the storm tracker. So just be careful out there in case you're in an area that's a little bit more dense than others. So we'll be sure to keep you updated in the next 30 minutes about road conditions. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Wake County.
Just before midnight, a gas station in Durham was hit by bullets. Police say it happened when shots were fired between two cars. The WRAL breaking news tracker was at the BP station at North Alston Avenue and North and Holloway Street while officers investigated. Nobody was hurt. And the Trump administration is suing North Carolina, saying the state violated federal election rules. The lawsuit echoes claims made by Republican Jefferson Griffin earlier this year. Griffin unsuccessfully sued to overturn the results of last year's state Supreme Court election. He lost by fewer than 800 votes. The Elections Board recently switched from Democratic to Republican control. The state's new elections director tells WRAL that he agrees problems needed to be addressed, and they are reviewing the complaint. And happening today, Governor Stein plans to give his first speech on his energy priorities. Stein will speak at the Emerging Issues Forum this morning at NC State. Stein pushed for a focus on clean and renewable energy in his campaign as Attorney General. His speech is scheduled for 11 o'clock this morning. And our NC Capitol team will be there. We'll have full details on Stein's proposals during our evening news from 4 to 7:30. It's another must-win situation for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. They'll host the Florida Panthers for Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. Puck drop is now just under 11 and a half hours away. WRAL's Laura Levine tells us the Canes will look to keep their momentum going after a win in Game 4.
The Carolina Hurricanes are aiming to earn another day as they return home for yet another must-win matchup. The team is hoping to keep that momentum alive heading into Game 5 against the Florida Panthers. So let's throw it back to Monday at Game 4 with their backs against the wall. The Carolina Hurricanes snapped back into the form that had rolled through the first two rounds of the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. Monday's matchup presented a win-or-go-home scenario, but the Canes were aiming to do both. Coach Rob Brindamore said the players are giving it all they got, and the rookies are now stepping up in major ways. So the next challenge is, well, doing it all over again.
I hope it can give us some confidence to keep going and win another one. But obviously, you know, they're gonna come out and throw their best at us, and we need to match what we did last game and exceed that.
And of course, that's easier said than done against a veteran group in Florida, which is seeking its third straight trip to the Stanley Cup final. We'll see what happens tonight here on center ice when the puck drops at 8 p.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And we'll have exclusive insights and expert analysis of tonight's game on Canes exclusive postgame live. Don't miss it, 11:25 tonight on WRAL. The Durham Association of Educators is calling on the county to increase its funding for schools. The county manager is recommending a $10 million budget increase for Durham Public Schools. The school system is asking for a $16 million increase. The Durham Association of Educators says it needs even more than that. They say it's needed to improve teacher retention and classroom conditions and keep bus driver positions staffed. And Durham Public Schools is making its own push to improve conditions for staff. The school system announced a new meet and confer policy. Superintendent Anthony Lewis and other administrators will meet regularly with staff to address their concerns. And Wake County School Board members are laying out specifics on the language of its new district-wide smartphone policy. The latest proposal calls for phones to be disabled and put away during the school day, and smartwatches need to be put on airplane mode. There are exceptions. Principals can allow high school students to use them during lunch or on breaks. Students can also use their phone if they are approved for accommodations or specifically for class assignments. And the district is trying to get the new policy in place by the start of next school year.
United Nations trucks delivering food to Gaza were stopped and looted overnight. It was quite a chaotic scene. As we take you to some of the video of the hundreds of thousands of people who are there in starvation mode, just trying to find anything to eat. Dozens of people were hurt. One person was killed. Israeli troops had fired warning shots, and one person was killed during that. these Palestinians just desperate for that distribution site run by a U.S.-backed group trying to start delivering that aid. The problems getting supplies to the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians facing that starvation just underscored right here with this. Israel is facing mounting criticism over this humanitarian situation and how it's been handled.
All right, Jeff, thank you for that. Visas on pause. The Trump administration putting a halt on interviews for international students. What the State Department says it needs to do before it can allow them to resume. And hot car dangers. 5 on Your Side gives you the steps to take to avoid putting your child in danger and why you should be especially vigilant at the end of the work week. Also, we're tracking rain this morning as you take a live look at the storm tracker out on the roads. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tells us about the newly escalated severe risk we face later this week.
844, still some showers showing up here on Dual Doppler 5000 radar. Everything out there this morning is nice and light. You're not going to run into anything heavy, but it is damp out there, a little bit drizzly. And we have some more rain that's developing back here across parts of the Charlotte area into the Piedmont that's likely to hold together and move into our area probably within 30 minutes to an hour in our western counties. A little light rain from Durham up through northern Durham County towards South Hill, Virginia. Again, little light rain likely to be with us on and off up until around lunchtime. Later this afternoon, it'll stay mostly cloudy, but the rain should end. It shouldn't be quite as damp and dreary for the evening commute. We're looking at a lot of low cloud cover here in Sanford, and the streets are definitely still wet. Town by town, temperatures are looking as cool as 54 in Roxborough, where it's raining, 63 in Fayetteville, where there's some fog, already up to 71 in Goldsboro right now. Expecting temperatures to climb into the low 70s for most of us. Coming up, we're going to talk more about how much rain we could see for the next few days. Ken?
Elizabeth, we're staying on top of that breaking news on I-885 in the southbound lanes. You can see the bumper-to-bumper traffic that it's causing. It involves 5 vehicles, including a tractor trailer. You're looking at almost 40-minute delay if you're using I-885 to get to I-40 this morning. Several of those drivers had to be taken to local hospitals for treatment. In terms of your alternate route, you've got Highway 55, maybe South Miami Boulevard, and depending on where you're headed, Highway 70 could be an alternate route as well.
All right, thank you, Ken. The search for 2 inmates still on the run after escaping a Louisiana jail nearly 2 weeks ago is taking authorities to neighboring Mississippi. The Louisiana State Police traveled to Natchez, Mississippi, nearly 200 miles north of New Orleans after a reported sighting of Antoine Massey. He is one of the 10 inmates who escaped last week. Authorities say they are monitoring that community, but they have not confirmed Massey is there. 8 of the escaped inmates have been recaptured. And starting today, you'll have to pay to check your bag with Southwest Airlines. The airline will now charge $35 for your first bag and $45 for your second. It's a change from Southwest's longtime bags fly free policy. Not everyone will be charged, including the airline's A-list flyers and business fare passengers. Well, every year, an average of 37 children die from heat stroke after being left behind or becoming trapped inside a car. During the summer, that's nearly 2 lives lost every week. 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur shares the steps parents and caregivers can take right now to prevent tragedy.
This is the definition of a preventable death. Since 1998, more than 1,000 kids have died in hot cars, 41 right here in North Carolina. And stats show this more often happens on Thursdays and Fridays at the end of the work week when people are stressed and tired. And really no temperature in North Carolina's summers is safe. The first death of 2025 occurred in New Jersey at about 70 degrees. When the police arrived, the inside of the car was 96 degrees.
Children's bodies can't efficiently regulate their own temperature, and their bodies heat up 3 to 5 times faster than an adult's.
And think about creating a routine by placing your jacket, a purse, even a phone in the back seat, even when your child is not there. That way it will train your brain to always check. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
The Trump administration is halting interviews for international students seeking a visa to study in the U.S. The State Department says it's putting the pause in place while it expands its social media vetting process. Previously scheduled interviews will still take place. The move follows the administration's efforts to ramp up deportation of students with international visas. And today you can share ideas about what you want to see in Wake County's parks. A community meeting is planned about the county's parks, recreation, and open space system master plan. It's happening at Northeast Regional Library in Raleigh. You can drop in anytime from 4:30 to 6:30. Education is actually a second career for our Teacher of the Week. WRAL's Ken Smith is at Green Magnet Elementary School in Raleigh to show us why a special ed teacher transitioned from the legal field right into the classroom.
We were learning about the earth changes and the changes that the earth makes.
Florrie Dean is in her 10th year as a special education teacher after working for several years in the legal field.
I will help you.
Dean was drawn to helping students with special needs, particularly students with autism, because of a personal experience.
I have a godchild who's autistic, and I saw the challenges that my friend had with finding somebody to give good care. And so then I said, you know what, in helping her, I realized this is something that I like doing. Can you see the different changes that the earth is making?
Dean is known for embracing her students' abilities at whatever level and figuring out ways to help them learn in their own way.
Every day I try to teach a different sign language, so even the verbal students are now communicating with the nonverbal students using sign language. Let's help our friends, Anakin.
As for her students' parents, one of whom nominated her, they couldn't be more appreciative of Dean's work with their children.
I show up every day just to do my best and to make sure that away from home that their children is at home.
Ms. Dean, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Congratulations. Ken Smith, WRAL News.
And if you would like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com and enter Teacher of the Week in the search box. Well, something you do not want to see every day along our state's coast. Look at this, an alligator seen with a soccer ball stuck in its mouth. This happened on a golf course in Sunset Beach. The Sunset Beach Police Department posted these pictures to their Facebook. Officers say the gator released the ball without needing their help. You don't want to get too close to that alligator. All right, and this morning, people on the coast waking up to flash flooding. An estimated 3 to 5 inches of rain fell in a short amount of time in Southport overnight. Firefighters made at least 2 water rescues after floodwaters overtook cars. They saw a lot of rain. Here locally, we saw some rain, not nearly as much as they saw. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner here to tell us about more rain we're expecting on Friday.
Yeah, we ended up yesterday with about 1.5 inches to about half an inch with an average right there around 1 inch, and it was over hours and hours. And so it was a good rain for us, and no flooding, at least that we've seen. A little bit of rain from Durham northward up toward Mecklenburg County, Virginia. But look at what's happening back to the west. Some more substantial showers have developed here along the I-85 corridor, just north of Charlotte. That's likely to start creeping in to our western counties here, probably sometime between the next 30 minutes and an hour or so. So we'll keep our eye out for that. Not anything that's going to cause us any real issues. You can see here Futurecast starting to pick up on that a little bit here as we get between now and, say, lunchtime or so. Futurecast also showing a little bit of clearing late this afternoon into the evening. I wouldn't necessarily count on that. We've got some cool temperatures here, a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, but possibly we would see a little bit of sunshine. As we get closer to lunchtime, again, a few isolated showers lingering, but turning drier then later on this afternoon. And the evening commute, hopefully, at least weather-wise, will be a little more smooth than this morning, where it's just been drizzly and damp, and there's been a little bit of fog. Most of the fog has lifted now. 63 is our temperature around the triangle currently. Our temperatures as we get through the afternoon likely to continue to warm up. It's a little warmer down to the south and east. 69 in Clinton and in Goldsboro, but a cooler 54 in Roxborough. Temperatures around the triangle, 61 in Cary, 63 Holly Springs, 62 in Garner, so mostly in the low 60s. Likely to climb into the low 70s this afternoon in the triangle, maybe upper 70s around Fayetteville, again with some unsettled conditions. Now, a lot of folks may be hoping to do some tailgating, and what I'm told, I don't ever make it out there, but it doesn't matter if it rains or not, but I'll tell you, it's probably not going to be raining this evening if you're going to be doing any tailgating ahead of the game. Temperatures will be in the low 70s. So these low 70s are about 10 degrees below normal again for both Raleigh and even more more than that for Fayetteville. So we continue to see cool temperatures, a small chance for rain again tomorrow, mainly in the afternoon and evening. But a cold front swings through Friday. That'll be our next weather maker, and it's already a WRAL weather alert day. We have a level 2 risk for severe storms, so we can see some scattered reports of wind damage, and then a low risk for flooding on Friday, again with the potential for some heavy rain. Tomorrow's high, 83, and highs will be in the 80s heading through the rest of the week after today.
All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. We'll be right back.